Hello, everybody.
Hi, y'all.
How are you all doing? We are actually live and on time
Together
together,
in the same place.
right? Because she was gone.
Oh my gosh. Don't look. I wasn't happy about it either.
She was gone,
Girl,
y'all. And last week,
I was still gone.
she was still gone. And last week was part of why we need to talk today. I need therapists.
You need therapist.
I need therapists. I need to sit. I need to lay on your. Well, I need to sit. Well, I need to slouch in your chair. I must say because I can't lie down. And I start thinking about. Well, the best I can do is just
go
slouch.
slouch in
Yeah,
your
we're just
chair.
gonna slouch in your chair. So yeah, we're just gonna rock and roll that way. We're gonna ask those of you who are tuning in if you would go ahead and join us now. And yeah, so we can go ahead and get this party started. Today's topic,
Transitions.
yep, change. How well
Mm.
do you handle it? So
So
yeah.
I'm going to tell you something that I have learned.
Mhm.
I don't always handle change the best. But I've learned it. I'm getting better.
Mhm.
I'm getting a lot better. But I have learned that change is not always.
Something you welcome.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not. It's one of those things that I kind of have to be like, okay, this is what it is. We're just gonna, have to accept it and embrace it and move forward from there. So, but yeah, it's not always the easiest. I won't lie, it's not.
No, it's not. It's truly not.
So
And
y'all have to forgive us with
especially the
sharing
time. Yeah, we're actually taking the time
to share,
to
so
share. So yeah,
folks can join us and jump right on in this conversation with us.
go ahead and hit right there.
This one
But in the meantime, I want you all to
right here.
yeah, deal with and tune in, and we're gonna show you all our topic officially.
I like that.
And we're
She just be doing stuff, y'all. Y'all don't even know. She just be doing stuff.
back.
Y'all don't even be knowing all the stuff this woman be doing behind the
Baby, going crazy.
scenes. Okay, so today we're really, honestly and truly, we're going to talk about not just necessarily changes, but I mean, well, I guess this stuff into
Transition.
transitions are
That's why
there are changes.
that's why both
Yeah,
of them are there because
because
I am changing, trying every. Well, you know,
way I
yeah,
can.
that right there. So I was like, I was about to say, because when we start thinking in music, we'll end up turning it
Listen,
into a
it'll be a
music
whole
show.
music show about
Right.
transitions.
Right. A whole show.
A whole show. Hey,
Hey,
sisters.
ladies, how are you all? Y'all looking a little too grown. Oh,
Listen.
I'm a big girl now.
And okay, so I'm gonna just talk about that my most recent change and transition. Yeah, I know it has affected our whole house, but I'm going to also say that I have a different level of peace this week than I did last week.
We all do.
Last week was whew. So for those who hello,
Hi there.
for those who don't know, uh, the princess has gone off to school. She is away at school. Um, it only took us a
2
year and a
years.
half to get her out of the house. Oh, Jesus.
Thank
Nah.
you, Rona.
No, I say that, and I laugh and I jest. But she wasn't going.
How about now? We was gonna hog tie her if she tried because that other state just stuff just wasn't
Yeah,
quite
it
right.
was not. It was not right on any level. So she was originally going to go to North Carolina. A whole lot of stuff jumped off and went crazy. Went through transitions. And so it was just like, yeah, no, 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 no. We got to. Yes, I am a semi-empty nester. Well, my half of the nest is empty, like until the end of September. My half of the nest is empty. That one, no, him not even downstairs. Him outside. I'm just saying.
My nest is forever full.
But yeah, so baby girl went to school. Um, so I took her on Monday. Um, she is another who, although she's usually pretty flexible about certain things, yet Monday was not that day. Monday was probably one of the most emotionally traumatic days I have had. So first of all, it was okay. I'm taking this child that has been connected to my hip for the past almost 20 years, taking her off to school, taking her to another state. She's a big girl now. I'm releasing her into the world. Here you go. Have fun. And when I got ready to leave, she had the absolute most devastating emotional breakdown I think I've ever. Sounded like it was in my ear. I'm sorry, y'all. Had the most absolutely devastating emotional breakdown I think I have ever experienced. I've ever had to see, like, in my life. Like, when you see the people who are like falling all
But
over the
it's
coffin
the
and
first time she is
truly on her own.
separated from not just you, but from her grandparents.
Yes. Yes.
They are her like forever. She
Her
loves
lifeline.
you. She
Of course,
does.
of course,
She loves
of course.
you.
Well,
But they are her everything.
right. Although she's not the first grandchild, she is the princess.
Mm-hmm.
And although, my mom,
That's always been
grandma,
her name for her.
but
That's what. That's.
hold on. I was getting to that. Even though that is her grandmother, my mother, before she called her anything else, she called her best friend. And she called her, she called her best friend. She called her queen. Um, and and it wasn't anything that we ever asked her to do, or it wasn't anything that we ever said, oh, you're the princess, so she must be the queen. But my daughter's rendition was my mother was always so regal, and she just reigned over everything. So of course she's the queen. Like how? What? Why is there a question? She is queen. And then when the other grandkids started coming around, she was just like, this is my best friend. I don't know where the rest of y'all came from. This is my best friend. And there are those that are older than her. But even those that are older than her now call my mom Nana, because that's what my daughter's, when she decided nobody else could call her queen or best friend, she had to come up with another name. So she became Nana. And when you look at it, you'd be like, oh, it's Nana. If you call her Nana, I don't know which one of them will exorcist head spin on you first. But it's going to come if you call my mama Nana. My mama is Nana.
And don't call her grandma.
Yeah, see, I was just saying the word like grandmother, not like that. I wasn't actually calling her that. So, mama, if you watching, I'm just saying I wasn't really actually calling you that. I don't want no smoke. I'm just saying, my bad. Anywho, so that has been, I think I can say the biggest transition in my life as of late.
Yeah.
As of late, the past year has been a lot of transitions
Yeah.
from COVID to jobs to homes to um, personal relationships. So, like, the whole past year has been a year of transition.
Transition. And then
Absolutely.
not even just always our personal transitions,
Right.
but dealing with the transitions of other individuals that are close to us and that we care about.
Yeah. And loss, because loss is a transition.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
very. I'm coming all over in this space.
That's okay.
Because we,
You
yeah,
had that kind of day.
yeah,
Well,
that
you
kind
had that kind of week last week, and we
yeah.
look, this is just a residual.
Oh, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. But so I'm going to. I think. I think we should probably. I don't know. You may want to talk about some of the transitions in your life. I'm not sure, but I think we also need to really kind of focus on dealing with those
Those,
transitions.
well, yeah. There's some people that are really, really close to me who have um, made the decision to go their separate ways. You know, whether it be temporarily or permanently or whatever. And you know how sometimes you root for people so hard, and then when those things happen, it's like you feel like, even though it's not your relationship, but it's like,
loss, yeah.
but it's the two of you,
Right. How can you?
right? And then when I think about, even though we are dealing with a variant of the original COVID-19, and I think it has come through, just being just a beast, you know, even just getting a phone call a couple nights ago, right. I mean, I was just dozing off, getting that phone call, and and come to find out that the person was scheduled to be vaccinated, but the transition happened before the vaccination could occur. Well, the sickness took over, and then the transition took over. The passing happened before then. So it's, when we talk about the different types of transitions, and I was teasing you all yesterday about having heartburn and saying, Lord, what if I'm pregnant and it's got a head full of hair? I was saying it in jest, but then I started thinking, there are people who find themselves expecting unexpected. I'm not one of them.
Listen, we damn near 50.
Girl, please.
Listen.
Right.
All
of that. But
did you understand all that?
All of it.
Yeah, I know you did.
Understood every word. And every syllable. Every breath in between.
Every.
All of it.
Yeah.
But, you start thinking about that. Then you think about, like just here in Indianapolis and how people have been so trigger happy, throughout different parts of the city, and how, you're sending your child to wherever, and then they don't come back home to you, or they're just sitting outside and
on the porch minding their own business.
Right.
Outside playing and being children.
And you go because you hear the foolery, only to discover one of your own, has been hit. And it's just like, when we deal with those types of things and those different types of scenarios, it's like, even with changes on our jobs, um, job description.
So in the what?
Rules.
9 months that I've been, I've been in 9 months. This is 9 months. So in being in the 9 months that I've had my job, I have literally had 4. Is this number 4 different job titles?
Yeah, because they finally decided to mash a couple of them together.
Yes, this is number 4, but I think there's another one
looming.
Yeah, once everything is signed and something else.
Yeah,
always something. I think one of the more interesting. Hey, I was actually just about to talk about you, not but you, Miss Kimberly Johnson. I think one of the most poignant transitions for me was when my girl group that we was all running around being crazy, partying and acting a whole set of crazy daggone fools.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a stroke.
Mm.
And when I say she was, the big sister, the ringleader, she was the one that kept us in trouble and kept us in line all at the same time. Um, but then, she had a stroke, and at the time that she had a stroke, we also it was just one of those pivotal moments, because it wasn't because of her stroke, but it was all at the around the same time that we all started having different pivots in our life as well. Um, and so I went from being the little old lady that lived in a shoe with a whole army of children to, now I have the one. But in having the one, I'm also now in this position where I'm pretty much running a construction, several construction gigs at one time. And so it just became a thing of where, even though we are all still friends, our friendships, our relationship had to transition to a more mature place. And it had to get to a point where we can all still be friends, even though, we're not hanging out and running around and partying till all hours of the night and sitting up at each other's house and taking pictures of them when they fall asleep on your couch, and you think they don't know about it, and then you sit up there and post them online. Yeah, see, we're not doing all of that anymore. So, because, like I said, transitions, life is just, she know I'm talking about it. I'm waiting for her to say something smart. Because that's what she did to me, y'all. I'm just saying. But just, I think it was life transitions. And so at the time of all of that going on, we again just changes and transition. Oh, she's so rude. Just changes and transitions, and just, it just is a fact of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most difficult transitions are when we lose our loved ones. Um, COVID was not
What
discriminatory.
Mm-mm.
Was not discriminatory.
At all.
I know at one point in time I thought I was losing you. I couldn't wake your tail up for nothing. And so at one point in time, actually, that was my concern. And then also at the time that this one was sick, my father was sick. So I'm going
It was
from
something totally unrelated.
right, and it wasn't even COVID related, So I'm going from one side of town to the other side of town, and at the same time, I'm sitting there going, I'm going to hold my brain together. But I need these two crucial individuals in my life to get better and get back up on their feet. Luckily, you both did.
Like Gary always say, get right.
Yeah, she's another one. COVID, just really tried to take her out.
Yeah, elder mother. I call her elder mother because, or mother elder,
Yeah,
whichever order it comes out, because she is such an endearing. I met her through the actress,
okay.
and but it's like her spirit. It's like she is just so endearing. You know how some
Yeah,
people just, even through the screen, they just
they come play.
exude
Yeah,
that, that authenticity, that love, that, but don't get it twisted. I love the Lord, and look and will minister to you and pray over you and with you, but you get out of line. I've raised whole children that's grown with children. Don't get it twisted. I will lay holy hands if I have to.
Absolutely.
And but just and she's never said anything cross, but it's just how you can just tell that okay,
No.
I'm a woman that is about what I'm about,
Mm-hmm.
but just because I don't, kind of like I always say, look, I keep Misha on the altar. I let her stay up there on purpose because we don't need her interacting with people too quickly. And it's like, and so I can just kind of see that same thing with her and Kim. Oh, so
Oh
Kim
yeah.
had
She
COVID.
was she was
Oh
very sick.
my.
Yeah.
She said yes. You got me to a T.
Yeah.
Look, yes, girl, those holy hands, don't get it twisted. You'll get the right hook of righteousness, and it'll be followed by the left hook of, look, a faith filled left hook. I tell people all the time, don't let the heels and the smile fool you. You know, she's, okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually talk about how to get better dealing with change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm gonna say because there are those of us who we gonna lay out on the floor too, because they say no, no, we just not fitting it.
Right.
We not fitting to do this.
Hmm.
So yeah. So um, so you want to start with dealing?
We can.
Is that what you have? Dealing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Um, and the first thing that was listed is it says find humor in the situation. Now, you can't always find humor in every situation,
No.
but there have been times where Key and I, one or the other, was dealing with whatever, and then like, it comes across innocently, but if I go to hug her, I have to make sure it's like, well, okay, well, at least I'm not musty. And then I'll hug her. And so, and it's like we find ourselves laughing in that
Yeah.
moment, you know,
But we have to.
because I'm not, it's like I don't need you falling out and then having to try to resuscitate you because you done caught the armpits before I got a chance to get right. Lord, can't have all going to the left too quick. But and that was one of the things where you have to be able to find a way. And they talk about that with grief when you lose someone. They all you always hear people say, think of happy memories, think of
Yeah.
happy times, think of those times where you smile and you're able to laugh. Now that's not always the easiest thing to do, like initially, but then when you get with other people that know your loved one, and that share experiences with your loved one, it's a lot easier to come to that place of, my soul has been ripped out, but I'm able to think about this experience or that particular situation. Um, and then the next thing, which I find to be, I guess, one of the most important pieces of coping, in my opinion, is when it says that you talk about the problem more than the feeling. Because when we get caught up with the feeling, we end up in we can end up in Zimbabwe when we need to be up in Canada somewhere because our emotions are so at that moment.
So that is one of the things I think where well, I mean, I can admit that I struggle is and not in talking about the problems more than the feelings because that's what I tend to do. Because when you put me in an emotional a situation where you want me to sit there and deal with the emotional, I'm like, I got 15 other things to do. We can talk about the problem. We can find a solution and go on about our business. Because I ain't got time to just sit here and cry for 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 15 years. I just don't. I And I'm not cute when I cry. It looks like I got milk or salt water or something running down my face. It looks very strange. Anyway, so I'm not one of those people as far as like from like, a sad or, a grief ridden place. Now, the one emotion that I do tend to, unfortunately give into sometimes is anger. But even then, I'm generally talking about the problem and trying to talk my way through the problem. It just sounds more colorful in the process.
While you're addressing
while I'm addressing the problem, it may it may actually just sound a little colorful, but we're working through it.
Now this is me. Don't stress about stressing because I am so friggin' analytical.
Yes, you are.
I will sit there and I will dissect the situation.
Yes.
And then I'll be like,
man, all over again.
Right. And then I start stressing because I'm like, how in the heck did we get to XYZ from, Elemental P?
No, my favorite one?
What?
What really pisses me off? And I'll be like, what is this? Then I'm pissed off about it. You're like, you want to drink?
Right. It's like, so, it's like you call yourself trying to, rationalize and, analyze the situation. And like, with the elder, with Mother Joanne, I, my heart, I never had the opportunity to ever interact with her son. Mm-hmm. But, she had been promoting his book. And so it was like, and she was sharing different little things, prior to, his transition or whatever. And I was like, and you talking about a good looking young black man doing positive things in the community. And, he good looking. Yeah, he was good look, handsome fella. But to see a young black man, handling his business, with his family, with his, just all the way across the board. And it was like, so when he transitioned, it was like I felt a part of me break because she was hurting. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, you can't do anything to fix it.
Right.
But at the same time, you want them to know I care.
Right.
I care, and it hurts me that you're hurting. So for me, that's the part where I find my weakness to be, because I'm so big on, wanting the people I care about to be okay.
Yeah.
So I find myself stressing when those that I love stress. Yes. And when those that I love stress, then it's like, you all find a way. It's like, okay, well, you need to just find that happy medium. Yes. And then it's like, you care, but you don't become consumed.
Care, but don't be consumed. Don't kill him. He didn't know. He misjudged that time. Don't kill him.
Not.
He just misjudged that time.
Yeah, it's like, and she did. Hold on, let me go to this one first. She said, I started a scholarship fund in my son's name and gave money to missions in other countries. And it was very soothing for me. Yes, she did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like, and being the big sister of everyone, I felt it was my role to be there for everyone. This is Kimberly. Mm-hmm. And their situation. So I'm a good listener no matter the circumstances. And, I appreciate you too. I really do. She's such an encourager. She's a major encourager, and I think that is what drew me to her, because I tend to be drawn to you
Those
know,
positive
people
people.
like that, yeah. But then we talk about, you know, focusing on your values instead of your fears. And I think that's kind of what she did when she started the scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Continue.
No, 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 no.
No, because what I was going to say was off on a different track. So go
Go
ahead and
ahead.
finish
No, that's all I was going to
it.
say.
So I think, Trent, when we start talking about transitions, and I think that one of the things that we also have to realize is that transitions are not always negative.
No,
They're not always bad things. They're not always negative.
right.
And I think that when you say um, acknowledge your values instead of your fears, I think there are so many times where we are so fearful that we can't embrace the good. You know, we can't embrace the positives. We can't embrace the new.
What if I fail with what I'm doing?
What if this don't go the way I want it to?
That fear cripples us, but at the same time, you know, you've got people that are pulling,
Yeah. And
you know, saying
encouraging.
that right, but
Encouraging.
that personal.
Those personal demons.
Mm-hmm.
Those personal demons. And I'm going to tell you one of the things that, even though it's always a beautiful thing to have people in your corner, it's always a beautiful thing to have people who encourage you, who uplift you, who, push you, who don't take no for an answer, but who also bring out the good in you.
Because I look at Sugar,
Man,
Little Miss. I wouldn't. I look. I'm gonna stay behind the scenes with and now her business is just
absolutely flourishing.
flourishing.
Absolutely.
Same thing with Bree.
And that's who I was thinking of was Bree. So we have these women in our lives, and they are amazing, amazing women. But like so many of us, they think that they're supposed to stay in the background and never in the forefront. And because they don't want to ever be truly seen for what it is that they're actually doing, so then um, when the beauty and the blessings of their and the fruits of their labor come to fruition, then they want to be sitting, they'll sit there and they'll have like this little smirk on your face and be like, if you don't stand up and take your bow, allow us to give you your flowers.
What she said?
Now, don't be trying to see. She said so true. There you go. Now, allow us to give you your flowers. I'm the one that's always. Hey D, guess what we're going to do now? We're going to do a radio show. Hey D, guess what we're going to do now? We're about to manage this music artist. Hey D, guess what we're going to do now? We're about to put on some form or another benefit function, or we're creating a Facebook group that is strictly for small business owners, and we're going to manage it too. And then we're going to.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you,
and we're gonna maintain our own businesses at the same time.
Yes, because we have not only do we have our joint ventures, but we have our individual ventures as well. So yeah, and this one who never wants the spotlight, never wants you to pay attention to the man behind the curtain. The man behind the curtain ain't got nothing behind the woman behind everybody.
Okay, what was the next thing on here?
Whatever.
But it's a good one.
It is a good one.
It says, accept the past, but fight for the future. And that goes to what you said about all change is not bad. Because with the couple that I mentioned, the way that they are, well, one party of it, I don't know about the way one particular party of this couple has just flourished.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
I mean, just in the short period of time, there's so much more peace in this person's, whole life and in their existence, and it makes me look back at some of my previous relationships where I was completely and totally invested emotionally, mentally, psycho, just from top to bottom. And when those relationships ended, I was completely and totally either completely pissed and was like two tears in a bucket, or I was devastated to the point where it's like, okay, what do I do next?
Yes.
And but looking
Back.
back, I'm like, I can look up and say, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes no is the yes
Is the best answer.
to what we actually
Me.
need in the future. The no for right now
Right.
is the answer to
What you've
the
been asking
future.
for.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about something that you and I haven't talked about yet.
Uh-oh, you get married.
What? Shh. Anyway, so
Well, that would definitely do it.
listen, lady,
Huh?
you jumping all kinds of stuff.
I'm sorry.
Pump your brakes. So I think that when you talk about like reflecting back and looking on past relationships, and I have had to be a certain way in my relationships. I had to have a certain position, a certain standing, and if this and this and this didn't happen, then I'm done with it. This is not, if this is not what it is supposed to look like to me and in my eyes, um, well, it's supposed to be this, and this. It is supposed to be this, and this. And so when you have people that come into your life, and not just romantically, but I mean just just
Period.
people, period. When you have people that come into your life and it looks nothing, you hear me? Absolutely, positively nothing like what you thought it was supposed to look like. Nothing. You have to actually sit back. I mean, that's another one of those transitions because you have to let go of the fear that has held you back. You've had all these relationships with people, with food, with material things. Just you've had all these relationships, these connections, these attachments, but they were fear based. Whether you realized it
Or not.
or not, it was some form of fear that had you to hold on to these things and not embrace what could potentially be the best thing for you, right there in front of your face.
Right. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. We have to remember, even though our loved ones are gone, we still have good days and bad days. Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and at times I cry. You have to be true to how you feel
Absolutely.
at any given moment. I know this one thing, he knew Jesus and no more pain or machines attached to him. Oh, look, see, you're not going to have me all ugly.
Listen,
You're not going to have me
you're not
ugly.
here.
I'm not going to be on here all ugly crying and stuff. I'm not going to do it. Not today.
I just look at you.
Why? And how similar they are as far as
to
the
mine.
shape. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway,
But I was gonna, but even on the flip side, what you were just talking about with relationships, heck, we can look at mine and Gary's marriage.
Yeah.
Because at one point it was like, just file the papers.
Yeah.
File the papers. It's a wrap. Forget the feelings. Just file the papers.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, are you all the same people that was in that relationship?
Yeah.
Are you all the same individuals that were like, it's a wrap. I'm through with this. I can't anymore. I'm done. Yeah. It's like, and even we talk about how different things are. But the big piece of the puzzle was we had to, like the other thing said, we had to look at the problem.
Yeah.
And not just focus on the feeling.
Yes, the feelings and emotions. Because I will tell you that in you all making your relationship better, you have also caused the relationship, even amongst the three of us, to be better. So, I mean, you are my sister. I love you dearly. And there were times I'm looking at you inside your head and be like, what the hell? Why you do that? And then you looking at me going, I ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
You ain't heard what I just heard. And then there were times, and there was a period of time where he and I, we were not on good terms
Right.
at all. But I wouldn't change that old gravel headed something or another for money nor love right now.
I feel you.
And
I
and,
wouldn't trade
and,
them
and
either.
that's what I'm saying. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
You
And
know,
it gives me, and that's why I tell people all the time. It takes, and people I know that are my friends on Facebook, they've seen my hashtag. Marriage works when you work your marriage, and the work in the marriage. Now there are times where it is truly best in the best interest of all parties, including the children, or especially for the children, that adults go their separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where the adults in the relationship just need to grow the hell up and own their stuff.
Ooh.
If you're able to look at, because Michael has his song, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. You know, so, and if we look at ourselves at this particular point in time, and for real, because we can't run from ourselves. We can, if me and Gary got into it right now, I could go to a hotel, he could go to a hotel, but we would still have to deal with self. We would still have to deal with, we could place the blame game on the other person, as long as we want to. But eventually, we would have to wake up and say, what was my fault? Why was that person acting the way that they acted toward me? And when we got to our point in our relationship, in our marriage, that was when things started changing.
Yes. Yes.
When we had to look at self, that was the hardest part. The reconciliation between the two of us wasn't the hard part. The I'm sorry's, I'll do betters, and starting to show them, that was not the hard part. The hard part was acknowledging the fact that, dang, D, if you hadn't been doing XYZ, then you wouldn't have had to get pissed off about elemental P. And y'all wouldn't have wasted all that time pissed off with each other.
Absolutely.
Y'all could have been doing the grown up instead of being mad. And that's the part about, you have to acknowledge. And the good part is like what this one says, acknowledge that things are changing. Like with baby girl, she's gone off to school.
She is.
And that is a phenomenal change.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, baby girl is growing on up and she's moving more into adulthood. Yeah. Because she started adulting a little bit while she was because mom was letting her get a feel of what it was gonna be like to be on her own and handle things for herself. And then when she would hit a bump, mama was right there to say, okay, now this is where we went off the track. Now this is in the future. These are the things we need to look for, so we don't have to deal with this situation or anything that looks like this situation again. And that's the joyous part about when you acknowledge things are changing, because you have given her a phenomenal foundation.
Thank you.
I've told you that a million times. You have given her. I mean, she is one of the most mannerable and one of the most respectful young ladies that you will ever find. And what I love most, now she may not agree or have, because we all as individuals have our own personal belief systems, but she respects the fact that people have the right to believe and live life as they choose for themselves and their family.
Right. Absolutely.
And that is what, and I think if more of us in the world, would stop trying to browbeat, like even with this vaccine, it would do my heart good. Yes, there are going to be breakthrough cases, but just like we have the mumps, the measles, chickenpox, rubella, you name it, the bubonic plague, and all of that stuff that we get vaccinated for, it took them time to actually get it right. People are always talking about the flu vaccine. Even with the flu vaccine year to year, if they take it, because I don't take the flu vaccine.
No, I don't.
You never know what strain of the flu is actually going to be out there. So even if you take it, you may not be protected from the strain that you come in contact with, and you may still get the flu. So if people would get out of their feelings and start looking at things logically, and just right, and just allow people to make their decision.
Yeah.
It hurts when we lose people, based on their personal choices, but we have to respect their choices. And that is one of the biggest things that I commend you for, when it comes down to Kay, because she's phenomenal.
So this one, realize that even good change can cause stress. Because we know the past week or so I've been crazy. But even in taking the job that I took. So the job that I took is actually, it's in the medical field. Um, and at the time, it was one of those. One, I was job. I was seeking, jobs, but when it came down to deciding which one, being that this was in the medical field, being that this is in a field that, especially during the time of a pandemic, during a time where we needed to find answers, we needed to find a way to help one another, we needed to do all that we could to ensure longevity. It did to ensure the longevity, of the next person.
Because you're here to help.
I'm here to help.
That's her business name, y'all.
I am here to help. But I work
like a runaway Hebrew slave that got caught.
I work an insane amount of hours. And y'all will keep seeing me look down because I have both my phones right here and both of them are going off. And I'm just kind of watching emails. I am on call 24/7.
Yeah, remember we've been on the air when you guys
I've had to go. Yeah, I've had to go.
I've had to leave for deployment. Yeah.
So it is a wonderful thing that we do. It is a blessed thing to have this job. It is a blessing to be able to answer what I at least feel is a part of the calling of my life.
Because you're helping to save lives right now.
I definitely am. We're definitely working and saving lives. But at the same time, these folks stress me the hell out.
Don't I know? And I be sitting on ready, waiting on that phone call saying, look, do I need to go on and strike out? Because, heck, we don't really interact with the neighbor, but I'll get a ride. So a couple doors down, their box was accidentally delivered. So I'll go to them.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey,
can I get a ride a couple of exits down,
Just a couple
please?
exits, just a couple exits. So my job can be so incredible, even though we are saving lives, even though this is what we are doing is absolutely crucial in the times of a pandemic. These people stress me the hell out. It ain't even got nothing to do.
Beatrice can relate.
It ain't even got nothing to do.
Look,
What you
Beatrice can really say people should absolutely make their own medical decisions, but to say don't take it because it's not 100% effective is ridiculous. That's illogical, unscientific thinking. Nothing in medicine, even holistic medicine, works 100% of the time. Girl,
That's why
can we
it
get a
is called
billboard? Can we get a billboard?
practicing
Can we get a billboard?
medicine.
And then we'll put that as the hashtag.
Practicing medicine.
Yeah. We'll just put it in. But, you know, it's just one of those situations where, you know, I'm grateful because as sick as I was,
Yeah.
I could have very well and probably should have been
Yes.
in somebody's hospital,
Yes.
plugged up so that my body could rest
Yes.
and get stronger. So I probably wouldn't have been sick as long as I was or as gotten as close to death as I did. Had I been, but see, with the way things are right now, you can't even go into the emergency room, and because they're in a lot of places they are turning the emergency room spaces into ICU
Yeah.
rooms and spaces.
So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, mother was very sick and she had to go to the emergency room, and um, we figured, they'd go, they'd work on her, she'd be back home 3, 4 hours, it'd be all good.
Her blood pressure, stroke level.
But we figured they could work it out and it'd be all right.
That we thought.
So first of all, it took them, I know, a good 4 or 5 hours just to get her. Like they had triaged her, and even though she was truly up in the stratosphere as far as her blood pressure was concerned, they did not have any available. And I'm not saying an available room. I'm saying any available room, maneuvering room to treat her. Once they finally had an opening and were able to get her into a bed, she talked about them performing triaging patients and having to give them medicines and having to start IVs on people as beds line the hallway outside her room because they just didn't have anywhere. They didn't have anywhere for people to go. Because it was just, the numbers have just
Skyrocketed.
Yeah, and so of course that means I'm working even more. It's okay. But yeah, so
it's more than a notion when you're dealing with all of these transitions and all these changes that are going on. And this is one of the things that really has helped me kind of get to a place of semi sanity. Keep your regular schedule as much as possible. My body has gotten to the point where when a certain time hits, it starts to
just come on down.
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily for me to go to sleep, but it's time for my body to be in a position to rest.
Absolutely.
And then when my brain finally catches up with my body, then it's like, okay, I'll go on down. But it has truly helped my peace of mind. And so when I wake up and I get up at 3:30 and I do whatever I need to do to get him out of here, when he's out of here, I'm clear minded, I'm focused, I'm able to actually work. And then there are times where I
make sure I'm getting up.
And then I have to remember sometimes that, I've been up for 3, 4 hours already, and it's just now 8 o'clock. And in Central Time, 7 o'clock. So I'm going to hit, and I was like, oh, everybody hadn't been up as long as I had. So
They
I
ain't
have to
had
kind
time
of,
to read that email yet.
right.
They still wiping sleep out their eyes.
Right. And so it's just one of those deals where it's like, okay. So when it's time for me to start making that transition from work mode business wise into wifely duties to make sure, whatever is necessary or, for the household is taken care of, then it's like, okay, because when we get off here, I'm going to go set the coffee pot for in the morning.
Yeah.
And so it's like that routine has really, really helped health wise, the whole nine.
Yeah.
So,
and I think just the little things, like, so one of the things that,
the very next one.
yeah, and that was what I was about to talk about, actually. One of the things that has made a tremendous difference, especially with my schedule being as hectic as it is. So I have an autoimmune, I can say that word, disease, and so that is greatly affected by stress. So once I start stressing, I start getting very ill. My body will. I've actually had situations where my body just completely shut down. I have no memory of what the hell happened. Body shut down. But one of the things that we have done very consciously is to change my diet, and in doing so, it's changed what my body uses as fuel, how my body processes the fuel. So even when I am like super, super stressed, um, I may get a headache, but it's not a 4 or 5 day. Yeah, it's not a 4 or 5 day migraine like it was before. I may, my body may ache, but we're not trying to, get me horizontal before we have to take me to an emergency room. I am still mentally aware, whereas, baby girl sweet 16, that was a whole event. And one of the most horrible things for me is I don't even remember the end of the event. Like, we had family to come back to the house. We had people who were leaving. There were parents there who, were talking about, the party, and I had friends and stuff there, and I have no memory of the end of the event. I don't remember getting out of. I had a big, beautiful dress on. I don't remember getting out of the dress. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, well, you didn't really do a lot of that.
Yeah, well, then listen. Yeah, no. So, but those are the kinds of things, and so now I think about the stress that was involved with that event, and to know that that is the stress that I live with on a different, in a different mode, but it's the stress that I live with every day that I'm able to function. And I honestly, I think that a huge part of that is, one, you start talking about keeping your schedule as regular as possible. Um, Two, the foods and stuff that I eat. Um, Three, exercise, which I see is the next one.
Because you were walking in that warehouse all day
constantly. So I don't know if y'all see this. I am constantly in motion all day long. I walk miles every day just around my facility, and up and down in my facility, and climbing on stuff, and just moving stuff, and trying not to run people over, and directing traffic. So just constantly, um, constantly going on. Whew. Seek support. I'm gonna tell y'all, I could not have done baby girls leaving. Baby girls, the end of her high school career, the whole COVID thing. Look, you saw I did that, the whole COVID thing. Yeah, I couldn't have done any of that. I'm gonna be just point blank. I mean, I could have done it, but I'd have been it'd have been a whole different
Barbara would have been up here doing counseling
Listen.
sessions.
Barbara couldn't have had no real job because Barbara would have had to be up here holding my hand all the time. Barbara is the princess's godmother. But yeah, and it was just a matter of, without you, without my parents, without um Barbara,
The village.
Maria, Sugar, the village.
Hmm.
Absolutely positively the village. The sisterhood. Because as crazy as them heifers are, let me pick up a phone. Whether we're talking True Black Girl Magic Sisterhood or the sisterhood, I can't say after traveling pants because we all good for wearing sundresses, but Kim and that whole crew, let me pick up a phone and say, help me.
Because you
I
don't ever
need,
ask.
I need, or the princess needs.
Because you
I don't.
never,
It's,
ever,
I don't ask for it.
ever ask.
Seek support. No, even if you're not one to ask for help, know who you can.
Right. And let those that see you be there for you.
Yes.
Because I was talking with my brother about a situation, and I was telling him, I was like, sometimes we have to, and it's not always that we're being prideful, but we're so used to handling things ourselves.
Yeah.
I said, so when people extend an olive branch, it doesn't matter who it is, except the branch, because the olives that are on that branch,
Can be what saves your life.
exactly, could be the very thing that you need
Saves
at
your
that
life.
moment. So,
And you know what else I'm gonna say?
what?
The most unlikely people end up being the absolute biggest blessing to you.
Girl, that part.
The most unlikely people.
Hmm.
There have been people that I have just we had a random conversation, and those people have ended up being absolutely instrumental, whether it be as a support or going through a transition or being the trigger for a transition.
Or simply saying exactly what you needed
Needed
to
to
hear
hear,
at that moment.
even if you didn't hear it here, it's what you needed to hear here and here. So,
Hmm. And then what now for me, I'm very, because I used to keep a journal and I said I was going to go back to it, but it says write down the positives that have come from this change, because sometimes it's good when you go back and you look at stuff and it's like, man, I remember what I was did, like the memories on Facebook.
that's
It's
what I was
like,
about to say.
you know, man, I remember when I would when I put that cuss and rant on that page, or when I turn around and talked about the church of BS and da 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 da, and I was talking about whomever coming for my family, and I remember exactly. It was like, you know what? Whew, you come a long way,
Thank
baby.
God for growth, honey. Thank God for growth. I think so with my post, and because I had to finally understand that as one of the memory features. So for me, as far as like journaling, if I could find some sort of an effective like online journal, because I spend so much time in front of the
Online.
computer,
Hmm.
just. But as far as just like being able to just sit down and write in a journal, if I am writing something, it is a to-do list for me.
But see, you do, but you just don't do it with words. You color.
I color, I draw, I do,
You
I
you
do.
know you allow that creative side of you
Hmm.
to manifest itself in the physical.
I
So
do.
for me, whereas I do the physical writing of the words, your creativity is where you exhibit
Yeah.
your therapeutic, outlet. It's your
Right.
therapeutic outlet.
Because I don't share this with anybody.
Right.
That's the funny part. Like I don't like if
And
if I'm doodle if
pieces.
I doodle something on my phone, that's one thing. But I generally don't even share the things that I've colored or I've drawn or that I've created.
Because that's therapeutic for you.
Yeah. And so whether I'm trying to stop myself from overthinking about something, whether I'm having an emotional moment and trying to process my way through it.
And not stab somebody in the neck at work. I'm just playing.
That was the thing.
I'm just joking.
She's just joking. I'm not. So I even have like coloring apps on my phone, like coloring and drawing apps on my phones, on both phones. Because sometimes I am in a meeting and I'll just be like, because if you make me talk right now, we're gonna have a whole situation. So, or sometimes, I literally cannot just be sitting there, just doodling and drawing and coloring or whatever. But nobody is freaked out about me having my phone in my hand.
Right.
We're over time.
Girl, that's okay, but we
still have more to go.
More, yeah. It says get proactive, which is basically what we've been talking about. Yeah.
Taking charge and working
instead of being reactive.
Absolutely
proactive.
Get in front of it.
And see, this is what tickled me where you were saying earlier, vent, but to a point. Go ahead and say what you have to say, because I'm not going to sit here for 30 minutes and listen to you just wail.
I will listen. Well, okay.
It depends on who it is and what they're wailing about.
Yeah.
And wailing and whining are two different things.
Yeah, the wailing, okay, I'm gonna sit there with you. Whining, I'm gonna be like, after about 10 minutes, you want a drink? I'll go make you a drink. I will make you a cocktail. I'll make you some tea.
You want some coffee?
I'll make me a cocktail and me some tea.
Now this one, that last one.
Back away from social media. I'm going to tell you, if it was not for this thing called life, and our business group, and even that, there have been times where I've just been like, but if it were not for this thing called life and wind down, which I'm about to actually kind of kick back up again, and then my other radio show, I would not, I think probably be, there would be times where I would just absolutely positively check out of social media.
Well, you do. Well, your job has helped you to do that.
My job really has helped me to do that. And that's like, so people be like, oh, you heard that song? You seen that video? Did you hear that news report? Y'all want to know how I know what's going on in the world?
And then I don't tell her the majority of that.
So my mama be like, girl, did you know about so-and-so? Cinnamon, see, what the hell was she talking about? What's going on? Or there was a shooting here that was apparently fairly close to our home. I know nothing about it. People were calling me from another city. Are you okay? What the hell would I not be okay? I'm at home in the middle of my bed. I'm, watching True Blood. Why? Why are you asking me? Am I okay? What? Oh, it's all over the news. Really? I don't know nothing about it. There was a shooting 5 minutes from my office. Y'all know how I knew about it? Despite the fact that there was live coverage all across all the local channels and some of the national, national channels, the whole nine. Y'all know how I found out? Because security called for my building and was like, we need to be able to come into your facility and we need to be able to do a sweep of your building. And I'm like, for what? There's been a shooting at my building. They at my building. Now I'm not going to go down there. Why would I go down there if they're at my building? That does not make a whole lot of sense to me. And they were like, no, we need to be able to look to see, if there is anyone else. And I'm like, so you don't know if there was more than one shooter? And they were like, well, we just need to confirm. So you want me to come down to my facility, which is 5 minutes away from where these people were shooting, to let you into my facility so you can check to see if there's another shoot? I ain't coming down there. Y'all better circle the building and find out. I said, because I can't get in the building. If they get in the building, the alarm's going off. And then I'll call you. Because my alarm will be going off and I know stuff is going on. So I ain't going. I mean, I'm just saying. Made sense to me. But yeah, so literally that's how I found out about the FedEx shooting. Was they called me, not because I knew about it on TV or social media, because I'm real quick to check out. Yeah, I just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that.
Yep, it says plan ahead if you know changes on the horizon. Do some prep work. Reframe your thinking. Figure out what's going on in your mind when you're feeling sad and break negative patterns.
Mhm.
Take time to reflect. Strive to maintain some normalcy. Create some comfort.
I'm a hell of a bartender. I'm just saying.
And
Count
from count your blessings. For me, creating comfort is let me just snuggle up under my big old blanket, under Big Fluffy,
Yeah.
and I'm happy. And I won't. It won't be long before I'm asleep. I don't care how
Listen,
hot it is. I
nope.
don't care how cold it
She
is.
wraps up in this blanket,
If I
y'all.
get in Big Fluffy,
Listen.
it's a wrap.
I'm gonna tell y'all, it's 9,000 degrees outside. If she was having a moment and she had to be outside, first of all, she had to be outside. She'd be having a whole different kind of moment. But if she had to be outside and she was having a moment, she would still be wrapped up in this gargantuan blanket, and she'd be asleep. And we'd be all looking at her going, ain't you got the absolute
Heat stroke.
bacon there? Yeah,
Right.
what the hell? Come out of there.
Heat stroke. But when we start talking changes and transitions, the reality is simple. We really like for real need to make sure that we do the work.
Because
You know,
the one constant in life is
it's
change.
change.
That doesn't
Right.
mean that we ever get used to it or that we fully embrace it, but it is the one constant
Friendships,
in life.
people
Oh my
like you were
gosh.
talking about with you ladies. It's like just because we may have talked every day,
Yeah.
all day for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
but just because I drop off the scene, that doesn't necessarily mean that I've fallen out with you. It may very well be that I've got something going on, and if you are truly mindful, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, dude, what's shaking?"
I get that a lot. I do. I get that a lot. Where the hell you been? Huh?
Working, minding my business,
Not working.
minding my business.
Nine
But
times out of 10, the answer is working.
yeah, but not look 9.9 tenths of the time your answer is working. But
Reasons
but
down.
we're gonna deal with that on another show. I asked you if you was getting married. You getting married? Say to whom? You said you got to be in a position to get married.
Yeah, I'm about to go fix her cocktail because she apparently bumped her head at some point in time during this
And become
podcast.
delusional.
Something happened. I'm not
Yeah,
real
but
sure
we
what happened.
appreciate you all. We really do. Thank you for hanging out with us. We were a couple minutes over, but we appreciate you guys for hanging with us, as we went through our conversation. And when you are dealing with and thinking about your own life's transition and your own changes, be they good, bad, or indifferent, because sometimes a change is neither good nor bad. It is just a change. Um,
Thank you.
reflect. Just reflect.
Okay. So, okay. One more thing when we talk about transitions and we talk about life changes. This right here,
Hmm.
Kiona. Kiona and I, like, that it's ride or die down. That is one of my cousins that I absolutely love to death, cannot live without. And then our lives were going through a transition. And so, I hadn't talked to her in years. And then she popped up on Facebook. And when I tell you, when I saw her name pop up on Facebook, I cried. I don't
That's
do
what
that
I
very
did
often.
when I saw yours.
Yeah,
I had a whole friggin' meltdown.
I did too. Like I was at work. So, they were really like, Miss K. I'm like, mind your business.
I
Mind
had,
the business, I
and Gary
paid
was
you.
like, "What is going
Yes.
on with you? What?"
Yeah, and that is exactly how it was.
And
when
I
saw her name
fast
pop.
baby girl out when we came face to face again.
Oh my
for the
God.
first
She was
time.
like, oh my God, what is that? What is she doing? Is she okay?
I did, and it was just like it was so awesome just to. And I look at that picture sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
just like, wow,
Yeah. And here we are.
right. Transition.
Transition. Absolutely.
Transition.
So
But we appreciate each and every one of you.
why are you looking at her like that? Because she's crazy. Talking about it might get married. Anywho, we love y'all. We thank y'all for you taking this time. To just taking this time out of your
She's
evening
nowhere near.
to be with us.
She's
And
nowhere
to-
near that. I just like messing with her.
She really does. Just taking time out of your day, out of your time
To share with us.
and to listen to us and our crazy antics.
Yes. Yes, and yes. But we appreciate you. We are thankful for you. And we're going to just ask you all if you would. And if you feel so inclined, share.
Absolutely.
If you feel so inclined.
Love you too, Kiana.
Oh, that's so sweet. And we will see you all next week on this thing.
What happens next week?
I don't know.
What happens next week? Talking about transitions and changes. What happens next week?
I don't know. What did I forget?
What did you forget?
I don't know.
What time is it?
Does time go forward?
Okay,
Go
so
back?
this thing called life will be starting at a new time.
That's right. See, girl, look, there is so much going on up in here till I'm like, okay, what did I forget? Like, for real, what did I forget?
That's why I was just like, really? You just gone.
Thank you.
What happened?
She said both of you are just too
Thank you.
Girl,
I know. Mm-hmm. So we're starting at a new time, and there are several different reasons for it, but primarily because one, this time is right around the time when her honey love, is coming in and getting settled, but also a lot of times with me, like I said, yeah, I've told y'all I work some insane hours, but generally, even if it's been one of those 10, 12, 15-hour days, by this time I am coming in the house. I might be a little cross-eyed and crazy, but I'm coming in the house. So
rolling straight to the chair. Rolling straight to the chair.
Get my chair, leave me alone.
Oh.
So it's time to retire last year. Transitions.
Time to
retire the chair.
Yeah. But yeah, so we will definitely be putting up more information about that. And before we go, I want you all to keep everyone who is currently dealing with the aftermath of losing loved ones to COVID in your prayers and in your thoughts, as well as those, whether they're vaccinated or not, those that are actually fighting with COVID right now, because I would not wish that on my worst enemy, and so just keep them, lifted in your prayers. And, those of you that truly, truly believe in the power of prayer, pray for guidance as far as our leadership goes, from the top down, from the White House to the schoolhouse. I mean, just because, you all see what's going on.
Yeah.
So just be prayerful, and send positive love, light, and energy, whatever it is, however you believe. Just we need intervention. We need divine intervention, because right now the world is going to hell in a handbasket with gasoline and kerosene draws on. So yeah, it's hot. Anyway, you all have a great one. Thank you, Bev. Appreciate you. Thank you, Elder. And we will thank you, Kiona. Is it Kiona?
Kiona.
Kiona.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty. I like that spelling. Very unique
Yeah.
spelling. And so we appreciate each one of you for tuning in on this thing called life. And we will see you all next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.